SCP-7243 Existential Abatement Part 1. When most people think of an SCP, they think of the SCP itself, like the statue or the hard-to-destroy reptile, or other such monsters and anomalies. While those are concerns to the Foundation and need to be contained, there are also plenty of anomalies that produce their own waste as a byproduct of their existence. And while usually this waste isn't too harmful, it does need to be taken care of. That process is where the Acroamatic Abatement Department comes in, an entire division of the Foundation devoted to handling anomalous waste, as these substances can't simply be flushed down a toilet or burned away without potential ramifications down the line, especially if multiple types of waste intermingle. It's certainly a big problem, and as the Foundation grows and more SCPs fall under their purview, the amount of anomalous waste they have to deal with similarly grows, and it all has to be processed. The Admonition series of SCP articles deals with the Foundation trying out various miraculous ways to deal with some of their big problems, but discovering that there really are no shortcuts. Let's take a look at how they might handle their waste problem, and what the ramifications of their shortcuts are. We're first given a notice from the Oracle Collective, informing us that an iteration of Central Normalcy Authority, titled Our Foundation, has been formally audited regarding compliance with organization objectives outlined in the 1981 Multi-Foundation Coalition Agreement. Advance notice regarding this was not established, as this iteration's Oracle position has been vacant for several decades, with no suitable replacement representative made known to the collective. The following report then consists of recovered files regarding the iteration in question, and the audit was manually conducted under direct supervision of Oracle Prime. What that all boils down to then is that we're looking at some version of the Foundation that's under investigation for their compliance with the objectives of the Multiversal Foundation organization. The first item under investigation are post-mortem files regarding prior timeline iteration, with the assessment being that it was a misuse of authority resources which precipitated an enhanced ascension of a Tier 4 cosmological anomaly. What they're referring to is SCP-6820, the first in the Admonition series, in which a Foundation tried to permanently kill SCP-682, but failed. This timeline was reconstituted by Goldbaker and Associates, an anomalous insurance company, at significant expense. The second item is a hazardous document regarding local patasphere instability, which also involved a misuse of authority resources, precipitating the enhanced ascension of a Tier 4 cosmological anomaly. This refers to SCP-6747, in which a Foundation tried to use pataphysics to resurrect a deceased individual, but failed. The third item is an imperceptible document regarding local noosphere instability, in which again misuse of authority resources precipitated the enhanced ascension of a Tier 4 cosmological anomaly. This refers to SCP-6659, in which a Foundation tried to create a device that could kill gods, but failed. Item 4 are system files regarding the destruction of a local cybersphere, in which misuse of authority resources precipitated the enhanced ascension of a Tier 4 cosmological anomaly and the ejection of an additional rogue element. This refers to SCP-6488, in which a Foundation created an AI to contain any deviant AIs, but failed. It seems then that all of the Admonition articles have been occurring in one version of the Foundation, with it being patched up from time to time. Finally, we have Item 5, compiled documents regarding an explicit breach of contract, which is what we're reading now. I wonder how this one will end up. We're provided a document from the desk of Dr. Dougal Deering, in which he discusses what waste is. It reads, What is waste? The dictionary defines, well, nothing, actually. We define. The dictionary only records our definitions. Even that term is misleading. The dictionary, as though there were only one. Merriam-Webster probably says that waste, noun, is nothing but a useless byproduct of something better. Accurate so far as it goes, but it doesn't go nearly far enough. That's our fault. The worst kind of waste they're aware of.
Page 7, Mom says, what do you want to do when you grow up? Rocket into space in a tiny metal coffin, ma'am. It's a true story.
Is spent nuclear fuel, or carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Their definition was written without having borne witness to the irreducible Nascimbenium cores powering innumerable impossible mad science projects, or the infernal combustion engines punching holes in the ozone layer with their demonosulfuric emissions. That's the kind of waste our dictionary takes into account. Metal that absorbs psychic signals and grows like cancer. Balls of backward-flowing time. Orichalcum, adamant, and ectoplasm. The colostomy from out of space. An endless catalog of anomalous fallout and excreta which only we can ameliorate, because only we can see it, because we set the world up that way. But we're getting tired of seeing it. After all this time, this endless uphill landfill slog, we need to see clear blue sky beyond our horizon of trash. If only putting the waste out of mind could also put it out of sight. One might be forgiven for wishing that the very concept could be erased from our manifest of magic, as the gutters overflow with anomalous ooze and the gray goo projections turn perilously proximal. One might be forgiven for wishing that the dictionary truly did define, and that by changing the definition of waste, we could change the very thing itself. But forgiveness is never guaranteed. That's what gives it meaning. We're also given an undated photograph from Dr. Deering's files, showing a young man and woman side by side in black and white. Next, we're provided an incident report from September of 2028 from the Achromatic Abatement Facility AAF-D. The recording officer is Dr. Nyo from Psychology and Parapsychology at Site 43, and she's interviewing Dr. Deering. His hands are bandaged, and he is sitting very still, as if recovering from heavy sedation. She begins by asking him what he was doing in AAF-D when the incident occurred, to which he says that he was supervising a flush. She asks what that entails, and he explains flatly that AAF-D is the powerhouse of Site 43's abatement plant, the single largest anomalous waste facility ever constructed. Since the effluence crisis escalated globally, it's been doing non-stop quadruple duty, so every few years they have to shut it down, for no longer than an hour. Any longer than that, and the whole system backs up irrecoverably, but they have to pump the overflow into the anachronic sump below the site, because their output is severely lagging behind their input. They're overwhelmed and operating on triage principles. Any substance requiring too much time or too heavy a resource commitment to abate has to be set aside, because certain other abatements are too time sensitive to delay. Some of the anomalous effects of the waste can worsen the longer they're kept in the pipeline, without even getting into what they can do to the pipes themselves. When they do the flush, they're often already white hot, or ice cold, or humming obscenities in Latin. It's always a close call, because they can't afford to do it any more often than every few years, without the whole system failing. All this really does, though, is just buy them a little more time, and the sump under the facility is getting full as well. The The man in charge of the flush this year was Deputy Chief of Janitorial and Maintenance Philip Deering, his brother. Dr. Nyo asks if he was supervising him then, but Deering just says that he was visiting him, as they never speak to each other despite working in the same facility for decades. They talked about a toy that Deering found in the basement at their parents' house, which consists of a single sliding compartment. He explains that it makes things disappear, and Dr. Nyo places her Site 43 badge pin in the compartment and closes it, at which point it vanishes. She asks him how it works, to which he says that it's magic, as he's an occultist. He didn't end up giving it to him, though, and says that he's not as familiar with the abatement facility as he used to be, and they've had to make a lot of changes to keep up with the pressure. Apparently, there were 2 pipes, side by side, each containing very different types of anomalous waste, with a junction connecting them that allowed for combining their contents under specific emergency circumstances. This is normally done via remote control, but there is a valve there to allow manual access during